Hello and welcome back to the UKLC. I'm still Viper and joined by Jamada, and I think that we're in for a cracking third game of the evening, if I do say so myself. Nvision going up against Barrage Academy, and these two teams are still well within a shot of making those playoff places, and with some teams like M&M Academy not doing so well recently, it's an excellent time for teams like these two to start capitalizing.
Yeah, it's definitely a prime time to catch up. And one thing I definitely want to focus on, if you've been obviously tracking Nvision, in recency, they've not been doing too hot. I believe they're on a 5-loss streak. And because of that, they have actually subbed out their jungler Yuna for my former jungler Gdanica, which kind of hurts my heart a little bit. He's playing for the enemies now. But Gdanica definitely could be the kind of jungler that this Nvision lineup requires, because if you look down this Nvision lineup, there's not really per se a natural leader on this roster, right? You've got Longstaff, who's a rookie. Sparks only played, I believe, one split in an ERL slash the UKLC ever. BB Muffin, whilst he's been around for a while as a player, he likes to just kind of sit there and do his own thing. And it's Akka's, whilst he could fulfill that role, I don't feel like in this team he naturally would have been. So Gdanica could be that voice that Nvision actually require. Whereas on the other side, we know what Barrage are about, right? We have KZ, King. These two are the big, the two big players. They like to eat up the resources. They like to carry the fights. And then on the back of that, you have the two very powerful solo laners in Thomas Go and in Aragon, who can really pop off, but they just haven't been able to consistently find their run of form. And it's why they sit so low in the standings, albeit they could honestly be, like you say, vying for that 4th, 3rd spot.
Moved into Champ Select, Fresh, Graves, Uda, and Seraphine taken off the table. Of course, it is Nvision on this blue side versus Barrage Academy on the red. And again, some pretty standard bans coming through. Nothing too exciting. The Seraphine being taken off the table for the first time tonight is nice. It's good to see a change. And the Lulu being taken away. Yeah, that's again BB Muffin.
BB Muffin kind of targeted there. So we've got the Pantheon up. Whether Nvision will pass it up, I feel like in history they would have. With Gdanica there, they might opt to take it, because Gdanica is definitely a jungler that can be very aggressive. So there you go. We're going to actually see that one be locked in for the Nvision side. And that's obviously a really big pickup. We saw what the Pantheon still can do on this patch from Soft in the last game. So now if you're Barrage, I mean, you've got the AD carries available to you. KZ can get his hands on his Kai'Sa. And honestly, with the Fresh gone, we could just see a full rotation from the bottom side, though the center hover potentially indicates otherwise from that Kai'Sa first pick, and we are just going to see center lock in. So priority seems to have shifted a little bit for Barrage here, unless they're coming in with a different draft strategy. They are going to give most likely KZ the center.
That is an interesting one. Of course, could be flexed to support, so keep us for that one. But the Kindred also going to be prioritized for King, and that's a couple of strong picks, but not necessarily what we expect to see from R1 and R2.
Yeah, definitely not what you expect to see from R1 R2. So, I mean, if Nvision want to, they could just go Kai'Sa themselves, but you could run the risk of being outranged in the bottom side. So, let's see what kind of AD carry they want to pick up. For now, we're seeing an Azir hover, and it's actually going to be locked in. So, BB getting his carry pants on as well. So, this is a very different look from what we've seen from Nvision in past. And I mean, we'll have to see I imagine this is going to be the AD carry lock-in, unless they want a support pick, because there are no AD carry bans, so it wouldn't be, terrible to pick up the support here. But I think, yeah, Spark on his Kai'Sa, he loves the champion, it is very much comfort, so Nvision happy to snap that one away.
Well, the Twisted Fate going to be the lock-in for Barrage Academy again. Another very, very strong champion in the current meta, but not someone that you'd maybe expect to see this early on in a draft. And I'm fascinated by how Barrage Academy are playing this.
Yeah, so I'm really curious about how they're going to round out the draft in particular. So I think if you're Nvision now, one of your bans probably has to be the Camille. If you're Barrage, yeah, okay. So I was going to say, if you're Barrage, you can either one of two options. You ban away really strong champions that work well with the Kai'Sa, or you remove away some safe side tops from Akka's, right? So we're going to see the Malphite be the first ban. Could see the likes of the Ornn or the Gnar be the second. I think that would probably be the most standard thing here. And then Nvision, I understand the Aatrox ban away, but I think we have to see that Camille be taken away. Oh yeah, the Gragas is also obviously a very strong safe side pick, so that works. This is just signaling to me that Barrage want to take Camille on R4. So if Nvision actually misread this and don't ban Camille, I'll almost be disappointed, to be honest. I'm just saying how I see it. I would be disappointed.
I mean, it's definitely a very effective strategy if they do go that direction, but will be the Tom Kench taken off the table. So Nvision watched last game. You're chuffed to bits with that decision, and that's going to be a Wukong. Barrage Academy really just going through the champions that are like hate it and being like, oh, this is our zone.
Okay, so I shouldn't act out so much, but I was just expecting, it seems like something that Aragon would do with those two bans in pocket, but I guess Wukong does struggle into Malphite and Gragas, so it suits more the lock-in there. And I mean, if Akaz wants to, he can take it himself, though. I would go down, I'll go down the route of a more lane-orientated champion into Wukong. And we're just going to see Volibear, which we don't frequently see, pop up so much these days. If you follow the NLC, you've definitely seen it rear its head a few times here and there, specifically a sort of an answer into Renekton, so that you can shove in the first two waves and you're never really under much threat of like diving. But one champion that's made it all the way through the draft is Rel, which is, again, pretty strange to me. And this time, Rel is going to be able to facilitate quite a few champions. Oh, it's Wukong center bot lane. Okay. Okay. So
Barrage Academy,
now it's all starting to be pieced together. So this is obviously something we saw rise to quite high popularity last split. I believe it was Mad Lions that sort of brought it into full view of the sort of meta.
Was it Cloud9 as well who were early adopters, or am I?
It could have been Cloud9. Cloud9 seemed like the team that would have also done it, but yeah. So we're just gonna see a run back on this center Wukong lane, which I guess maybe this is just something that team's coming up with now that center's back in the meta. Hey, fasting is sort of viable again, and it's what Barrage have obviously gone for here. So I'll be curious to see how they actually utilize this Twisted Fate, specifically in tandem with having what should be a pretty strong bottom side, whilst also maintaining a pretty good top side matchup as well. They have a jungle matchup which can definitely be relatively 50-50, though Pantheon realistically should be able to win out most of the earlier skirmishes.
Yeah.
I think we're in for a relatively bloody game across the board because of the side lanes, the jungle matchup in particular, and Twisted Fate being able to kind of just sack whatever wave he wants and just move to a side lane. Big Muffin's definitely going to have to, he's going to have a lot to do in this game in terms of trying to make sure Thomas Go doesn't actually freely move from the mid lane.
This draft phase has been absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
In terms of just the flexibility, the champions that we're seeing on display, and it's difficult to kind of quantify Barrage Academy's draft just because we haven't seen some of these champions played too frequently, and none of them are shocks. None of them are, oh my word, this champion. But the case of
it's more about the fact that we have Senna Wukong back in the meta.
We saw Senna Tom catch last game.
We saw the Tom catch last game. So maybe it's just the thing now. Maybe we'll have to see. The UKLC typically does have its own sort of mini meta inside of a lot of other sort of tournaments. Yeah, I mean, you see it develop a lot. Things like Worlds, things like MSIs when they were run. Things just rise to priority, specifically in that sort of echo chamber.
Yeah.
I have to see if that's the case with some of these fasting champions, as it is going to probably be Wukong picking up all the CS in the bottom side.
I mean, the UKLC does have history of creating some of these wild bot lane pickups. I believe, was it famously the Garen Yumi was first played competitively in the UKLC?
It could have been Fnatic Rising. It would have been probably Fnatic.
It was it was Dan Vox Day. I think was the first.
Oh yeah, that's.
It was on
correct,
the team that he was on, which I've forgotten the name of, off the top of my head.
It would have probably been Demise, if I had to take a guess. I'm pretty sure he was on Demise. So
perhaps, maybe. I know it was him, and I remember laughing at it.
I know it was him.
I know. It's like I never forget a face, except for the face of the team that he was on. But
yeah,
I'm so interested to see how this game goes. We also have seen Volibear a little bit around as a more out there pick. I believe that we saw one in the Baltics this week, in the Baltic ERL. It did not go well from memory. So we'll have to see if Akaz is more confident on this pickup as we do move on to the Rift for our third game of the day. Got Nvision on the blue side. We've got Barrage Academy on the red side. And Jamada, my prediction for this one is that we're in for a bit of a wild ride.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over wild ride here. If my teachings are still with God, then I know what's gonna happen this game. on a champion like Pantheon. You give him a Sinner champion, right? You give him Lee Sin, you give him Pantheon, give him anything that wants to gank early. He'll do it. That's all I'm saying. He'll do it. And speaking on Gdanika and just Nvision in general, because this is a relatively different look to what we see from them, obviously swapping out the jungler. In a meta like this, it's going to change how a team operates. We would consistently see Gad pull off really aggressive early lane plays, though the meta has certainly shifted away from it. The two champions in this game in the jungle aren't really the farming type of junglers in this meta. You know, Kindred, whilst yes, she can farm relatively quick, she's not Nidalee, she's not Grave, she's not farming at that kind of pace. She's not a Lilia. She wants to be aggressive in those lanes to pick up those marks. Pantheon, well, it's no secret what Pantheon likes to do. So we'll have to see how things progress. Specifically in that top side as well, because Volibear Pantheon is such a potent dive tool. Volibear should be able to secure, you know, lane priority if he wants it. At the moment, he's kind of waiting around, I think, for Kennen to show up. So if he slow stacks and Gdanika shows up on that top side, honestly, the amount of burst damage that could come out is more than enough for lethal. As both the junglers mirroring their clear for now. So we will see King and Gdanika likely on opposite side Scuttle Crabs come that kind of 3-minute mark. And we're also going to have to track that bottom side, that KZ KDO lane. Akaz hasn't necessarily opted into a full shove up there. So he's taking his time, we'll have to see. But you can already kind of... KZ on this center, he's outranging the Kai'Sa already. There's not really much they can do about that. They are going to secure level 2 first. Don't think they're really going to look to abuse it though. It will kind of push Nvision a little far off, but the wave's already gone, so they're going to be able to pick up most of it. Standard early game so far.
It has been very, very standard in the first couple of minutes, and I know that's not a very big sample size, so we're going to have to keep our eyes when the junglers decide to start getting involved on the Rift a little bit more. But talk to me about Kennen, Jamada. What's going with that champ? So,
bit of a sort of special pocket pick for Aragon. It's a champion that he, you know, he's lent on over the last 2 splits when he's felt it necessary to pick up something sort of more safe side orientated. But we've seen him pop off with massive game-changing or game-ending elements time and time again whenever he's on this champion. So, you know, I'd expect him to fall behind a little bit into this Volibear, but more or less keep your eyes on him in these mid-game team fights where if he's got flank angles, I mean, hell, he's honestly just made full frontal engages work where he's hit 4 or 5-man slicing Maelstroms. So really just looking at those mid-game team fights. Even if he falls behind in the early game, still going to be a menace to deal with.
Keep your eyes on the Ninja up in the top side and see what kind of engages can be done, what kind of team fight impact Kennen can have, because this seems like the kind of matchup, and I must admit, I have to come clean here, Jamada. I'm not an expert in the Volibear Kennen matchup. I didn't prep that before coming into this session today, but KD are going to be fine just diving away from that attempted engage. But it's the kind of thing where if it's going to be a very strong 2v2 for the Pantheon and the Volibear, but if the Volibear gets set behind, isn't that going to be very, very rough?
Yeah, it definitely can be. Tomasko is trying to shove this wave in. This is why King is sticking around for so long and finally going to reveal himself just to get the shove done. But yeah, Aragon on the Kennen, if he does get ahead, it can start to feel quite oppressive for this Volibear. In the side lane, I suppose, but it really does depend on how they actually build for themselves. We don't really see the Kennens anymore build for side lane. The Gunblade isn't there. Whilst Riftmaker is a nice item, it's not really the same sort of you know, replacement that Gunblade once was. As Aragon potentially going to get ganked here.
Gdanika moving in, will be able to get the stun down, but the flash comes through. Lots of respect being paid by Aragon in the top side, and we'll be getting out of that one with only his flash being burnt.
Yeah, and honestly, like you say, just paying loads of respect there. Getting stunned up does mean that Akaz could just follow up with that flash. He had the Q charging down already. And whilst I don't expect Aragon would have necessarily died to that gank, it would have been a lot of damage, and you don't really want to take that risk. You don't want to flip it. Does mean the wave is in a pretty uncomfortable position for him. If Gad wants to return, he certainly can, as Barrage at the moment taking the information that they had to just steal away this dragon. They had bot lane priority and mid lane priority for that matter. Gdanika gonna try and respond in the top side with that chicken camp. And just a nice takeaway from Barrage. And a very swift response from the Nvision jungler too. Barrage definitely bleeding a little bit of resources in the top side because of that freeze. Aragon really feeling the pain up there. All in all, both these teams doing just about what we'd expect as Cat is making his way back up to the top side. There's no flash on the Kennen this time.
This time around, but Aragon, you've got to imagine, knows flash going through from Akkas. There's the stun, and Godonica can layer it on top. First blood is taken by Pantheon as the gank pays dividends.
Yeah, it's just repeat gank. You know Aragon doesn't have the flash. Pretty much a free pickup, and Gad has to be a little bit careful now because King is in the area. He has already reset, whereas Godonica's still sitting on all of the gold he's waited for. And not only that, the mark is actually also there, so if he's forced to smite to secure that Herald... Oh! Line the bomb side.
Kaiser needs to flash away, gonna be using the heal as well, but Longstaff and Spark are both chasing on. Longstaff looking for up in the top side.
What?
Heal has gone down as Godonica has been taken down. Beam Muffin might not be out of this one yet, gonna be slain, gonna be stunned. As in the bot side, we see another kill coming down. Double kill actually for the Kindred. There is KDO is looking to chase down Spark. One more auto should be enough, but he's not gonna be able to get it. But Thomas Go with the gold card is able to. Longstaff and Thomas Go make an agreement. They're not gonna continue this wild play any further. And I don't know. I don't know, man.
Alright, just give us a replay as soon as possible. I'm not sure what the hell just happened. As okay, so it all starts off really nice forward flash from Longstaff to lock up KZ, who's just, I guess, mispositioning a little disrespectful. And on the top side, I mean, Godonica just wins out or loses out to King on that skirmish. He does secure the Skull Crab, but it's not enough as all. Akkas is disconnected on the live feed. And I mean, down here, it's just poor old KDO by himself on the monkey. He does not quite able to take out Spark, but Thomas Go is here for the teleport. Still has gate available for him, so I assume he was just in base when that was happening. As the issue is, Akkas is disconnected online. But I mean, all things, you know, still actually remain even in gold. We are sat 100 gold away from each other, Nvision and Barrage.
Well, I mean, that's just because they took chunks out of each other, but it was even chunks, you know? They were like, we're just gonna, we'll keep it pretty fair, but we said it could be a bloody game. And I mean, it took a little bit of time to get going. It was ramping up, but then everyone, both teams decided, what if we just start team fights across the map? Like, is that a good strategy? Is there anything you're fighting over particularly? No, not really, we just wanted to scrap a little bit, which is always good to see. It's always fun to have a game where people want to be team fighting. And off the back of that play, gold is very, very even. Is there a team that will be happier with that?
Honestly, it's hard to say. The scaling's kind of back and forth on both these teams. You've got the Azir, you've got the Kaiser, who obviously thrive in those front-to-back fights. But Barrage are never really looking to play front-to-back with the team competition. They're looking to dive, they're looking to find split-up members and split-off members of Nvision. So both these team compositions want to do two entirely different things. I would give this, it's hard to really even give a scaling edge, because if King gets going, then Kindred honestly is a pretty big monster, especially if talking about a Kindred that can pick up, you know, 6-7 marks. She gets that additional added range, and then if she picks up a rapid fire cannon, she can, you know, start to joust with things like Azir range. So it can honestly even out in that sense. And Thomas Go is always going to be a gold card bot, and there is no cleanse on either carry for Nvision. So, you know, I think the scaling, all things considered, is relatively even. And it's going to come down to whether Barrage, in all honesty, I think it's on Barrage, whether they can actually find members of Nvision split off on rotations or just poor positioning in general from them to actually pick up positive fights. Other than that, Nvision have a pretty low execution floor draft where, you know, you protect Beaver Muffin, you protect Spark. You shouldn't have much else to do. As Pantheon comes down with the ultimate.
Oh, Pantheon looking to try to get onto KZ. Will be able to get a stun down, and the Senna goes bye-bye. Spark picking up the kill on that one. KDO hiding under tower as his carry, Asterisk, as much as Fasting Senna is a carry, goes down, and the game's not letting up in pace. We might have had a pause, but the teams definitely aren't.
Yeah, and I really like this here from Nvision as well. They're just going to transition this bot side gank straight into top side. They're going to crash this stacking wave in the bottom side while Spark pushing it a little too fast, but that's okay. As Destiny Gate's actually going to come down onto him.
It's not okay. He's going to get stunned up. Teleport's coming through. Spark actually should be able to get out back of this fight. King is there. Will be able to pick up the kill as Akkas comes through looking for Thomas Go. Gets the stun. The TF goes golden, but he's going to be knocked back. BB Muffin actually looking for the kill, won't be able to find it. Looking for the safety, won't be able to find it just yet. As Thomas Go looking for the stun, lands the gold Carcadio there. The knock up from Akers as the stun comes down, and there goes the bear. A very, very confusing team fight, all things considered. Nvision will be able to pick up the Rift Herald on the other side of the map for it, but again, not entirely sure what we're fighting over here, guys.
Yeah, this is... if you're Gdanica and you're Longstaff, you're like, guys, what's going on down there? So we end up getting a double teleport from both Akers and BB Muffin in an attempt to save Spark. And in all honesty, it's fine to do that, but it's just the execution just falls a little flat on its face. We have the stopwatch coming from Thomas Go, and that saves him, buys enough time for King to walk over with that Landra fight. And then Akers honestly just layers his spells incorrectly. This is a bit of a mechanical misstep, really, from Akers. If he layers his spells, he waits a little longer for Barrage to chase in onto BB Muffin, then I feel like turning there is fine, but doesn't. Kind of just waltzes in and dies. And Nvision kind of just hand over 2 kills, pretty much for free. And this is what I was saying, Spark should have slow pushed that wave a little slower. He opted in for a hard shove. Thomas Go just says, okay, we just saw 3 members pass through. This is a free pick. Good utilization of the Destiny Gate there by Thomas Go. And as things are starting to, you know, dust settling a little bit on that play, it's King and Thomas Go who have pretty much all of the golden resources at the moment. See, King has the Gale Force already finished up. Could we get a mark check, actually? That's something I'd like to... Nothing's really going on now. We could get a mark check on the Kindred. 5 mark... Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, that's not ideal if you're Nvision. I'll tell you that for free.
It's those are more marks than you necessarily expect. As Thomas Go needs to be a bit careful. Gdanica coming through, but the stun will land, and a bit of return damage can be gained by the Twisted Fate. He might have set up a little bit too far to get Alan King in the wings, but isn't really interested in fighting 3v1 and will back away.
Yeah, honestly, it's almost a bit of a surprise. Oh, I might have to hold this. King's going to walk straight into Gdanica.
Yeah, Gdanica going to be getting on there, but B-Muffin and Akers are both there. King might be overextending him, but does have support in the form of KZ. Roamed up
Herald's not
in
crashing.
the wings as well. The Herald isn't crashing, and it looks like they're going to be able to clear it out in short order. Not great utilization of resources from Nvision. They're going to be losing out on any prospective gold from the plates from a charge, and now it gives Barrage Academy the time they need to go and move on to this second dragon.
Yeah, so the original play from BB Muffin and Gdanica is fundamentally sound, but they weren't able to catch the flashless Twisted Fate out with that Emperor's Divide, so they can't actually take him down. So they drop the Herald kind of nonchalantly. They don't corral it in underneath the tower, and it kind of just fails. They're going to go for the same repeat play, and this time it should...
will get the Streamer Shuffle this time around. The start comes through by Thomas Go a little bit of time. Can he get a kill in return? He can, as he picks up the kill onto Gdanica. B-Muffin will get the shutdown off the back of his fallen comrade, but not the play that Nvision were potentially wanting.
Yeah, Gdanica entering that gank at a relatively low HP value. As Longstaff, he's going to be okay. And Longstaff actually has had a much better early game than we've seen from him, as I may have just caught.
Oh, why have you cursed him? A lot of damage coming through from King, but KZ not interested in picking up the kill on the support. Will be moving away, but could be interested in a little bit of stealing away Krugs. Maybe
that's a mark.
Dive as Woodon coming down. It's a mark, but King's going to go very, very low. Has to use the Lamb's Respite to stay alive, and the Krug is going to be caught out as well. Shutdown coming through as members of Barrage Academy come in to try and clean up. Spark going to go very, very low. Knocked up for a second time, and one more auto should be enough. He'll be able to grab the kill. Gdanica in the back against Aragon, who will be popping the auto, but getting onto Longstaff, who's just remounted. Damage coming through as the Rel falls. Gdanica falls, and again, very messy team fight over a Krug, but crucially, the Krug is still alive as BB Muffin comes through, picks up a kill onto the cannon. Thomas Go looking for a blue card, trying to get some damage down onto this tower as Lazir will step forward. The mark still stands, but multiple members of both teams don't.
King didn't fight the Krug. I'm sorry. I'll factory reset. I'm no longer, you know, jungle Jamad. I mean, he could have just smited and got the mark. Anyway, Barrage and King going a little bit too over eager for that 6th mark for the Kindred, and this is basically what kicks off the fight. King gets immediately dropped once Lamb's Respite goes down, and Spark basically in the middle of that Wukong Cyclone, and does force KZ to flash away because that 4th stack of Plasma was coming in. But Aragon found his way down here with a teleport, and I mean, it's just a nice slicing Maelstrom to finish up the fight. Nvision kind of routed down here in the bottom side, despite the fact that, honestly, this is a pretty huge misplay from Barrage, all things considered. And of course, we had BB come in and swipe up that last kill. But very strange from King. So is King still on 5? Oh, where's that Destiny Gate going?
Oh, teleport coming down towards bot side.
Ooh.
Destiny was used there as well. KDO
Oh, wait.
gonna be knocked back twice in that play, and it looks like Godonica has just picked up that Krug, so the shutdown for that one gonna be grabbed by Pantheon because goodness me.
Oh, hello. Oh, wait, he's on the wrong side.
Oh, King is on the wrong side, gonna be flashing over the wall to safety, and KDO now moving forward. Spark taken to about half health. Needs to be careful as the ultimate comes through from the Wug on the snipe. Will not land, but it will give the shield availability. Guys are going to be going down. Aragon is here for the stun. Double kill to the Monkey once again. Second in 2 team fights. And again, good play there coming through from Barrage Academy, but what can be gained from it? Muffin has dived back in. Going to be stunned up by... Okay.
Anyway, so how many stacks is King on? Because he obviously missed out on the Krug. He curiously didn't get an assist on Godonica because he still has that mark like above his head. So didn't quite get it. We're gonna get a replay. He was taking a wolf camp, which was the mark. So this is just after that ultimate from Godonica. And I mean, Spark is just, you know, too far forward. Aragon uses the slicing Maelstrom to take down his former jungler as well. It's kind of overkill, all things considered, but not really know. What's he doing? I don't really. Okay.
Everyone gets one.
Yeah,
Everyone gets one.
Now, I did say Godonica does like to be over-aggressive.
That is
very much a
certainly one
Godonica
way of
thing.
describing this Pantheon in this game.
Yeah. You know, it's not the best performance from the new Nvision jungler, but he has at the very least brought a slightly newer looking vitality to Nvision, because they certainly weren't this proactive prior to his arrival.
That is very true. It has to be said that this is a much more proactive Nvision than we've seen. They've gone from not fighting over stuff they should have been fighting over to just kind of scrapping for everything, and set up from Barrage Academy towards this dragon will be the 3rd one of the game and the 3rd one for them if they can secure it. Akka's in the top side, punches that tower down and looking for the teleport into the bot lane. We're going to see yet another fight. The Spark is on the other side from his team. Will be able to dive for the wall. The Stream Shuffle comes through. Akka's diving into the lab just by the first kill of the fight. Will be going over. Kaiser's already dead as King looking to kite away, getting damage onto Akka's. The Kindred is still alive. Thomasco is still alive. He hasn't got a stop just yet, but is looking for a smoke. Will be able to land it, and Barrage Academy pick up the clean ace. Well, I don't know if I'll call that clean, but it's 5-0.
Yeah, 5-0. By definition, it's a clean ace, and Barrage, they're just going to take that 3rd dragon for themselves, and we always do say that 3rd dragon fight, it's a good indicator of how the rest of the game likely is to go, and whilst this fight wasn't necessarily over the dragon itself, well, it was a clean ace, so I feel like we all know how that fight would have likely have gone. Spark does his due diligence, checks the bush with the W, and he actually manages to make it back over the wall with the ultimate, but honestly, it's still too far in. The Magnet Storm clips everybody on Barrage in that Lantras fight, but there just is not enough damage from the side of Nvision to retaliate to what's going on here, and they just get clean swept by this Wukong, who is so damn fed, by the way. I don't think we've really focused on it because of the comedy of errors going on in the Nvision side of things mechanically. He's 10-1-5. He's got Trinity Force in pocket. He's got that Ravenous Hydra now in pocket as well. It's going to be hard to kill this monkey.
And the monkey's going to have a very easy time killing you. So far, this game has been proven, and with those items, even more so. But Rift Herald still... We've got another Rift Herald on the map. Another objective for these teams to potentially look towards, and you've got to imagine that Barrage Academy will be the only ones with the opportunity to grab that one in the next 2 minutes before it despawns. But this has been... We expected a bloody game, but I don't think we were expecting something so aggressive from both of these teams, which are not known for their aggressive play.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, well, you know, with Barrage, it's kind of a... You either get really passive Barrage or you get very fast-paced. Barrage. It's one or the other always. This game we're getting fast-paced Barrage, and Nvision, obviously traditionally as a team, have been quite slow. This game they've definitely been more willing to make plays, specifically around Gdanika. I feel like making these calls has certainly made them look a little more alive in the early game, but they've just not gone in their favor, all things considered. But if there are positives to take away, Longstaff has looked far more confident with his former university jungler. I don't know if they still play together, actually, in the University League, but Gdanika and Longstaff, former teammates as well. Oh, hello.
Aragon trying to get away from the tower. Akaz has dived forward, but won't be able to get much more than that. The ultimate now burnt from the volley bear. Could be an interesting one if the team fight kicks off anytime soon. Thomas go King and KZ looking to take down this tower. Have the Rift Herald in pocket as well.
They might not
be
need
dropped
it.
And could be looking towards a charge on the inhibitor towers. Barrage not too confident in moving further forward themselves, but will send the neutral objective. That inhibitor tower has taken a beating, and Barrage Academy.
Oh, all right. Mark check time. Because Kindred just picked up another mark. I think she's at 8, maybe 9.
8?
8, yeah. Can we hover over the Kindred? Oh, never mind. We've got a play going on.
We have got a play on the bot side. It's just Akaz going down.
All right, goodbye, Akaz. Yeah, so can we get a hover on like her passive? Because I think that will actually give us all the information we require. Oh, it doesn't even give you the stat.
Oh, there you go.
So Dance of Arrows, 120% attack speed. Got the Mounting Dread and Wolf's Frenzy dealing a total of 12% current. And she's currently got a bonus 75 attack range. So, yeah, she's pretty damn strong right now. As Gdanika's gonna watch his blue buff be slain in front of his eyes. And there's no rapid fire cannon coming in second. It looks like it's gonna be the Collector third for King. But honestly, at this point, does it really matter what he builds? It's gonna go back and finish that one up. Everyone across the board on Barrage getting close to those 2-item spike marks. Aragon still trailing behind after the early game. He's not doing too well in the CS department, but he's still going to be Kennen at the end of the day. And of course, KZ not farming any CS, so it's going to be a while until he hits that second item. But he does have the Kraken Stinger, so he's going to be fine. I'm surprised, honestly, that the two fasting centers that we've seen, we haven't seen them go the more like supportive like route. Just because whilst yes, center's income is still, you know, it's higher than your average support usually. It's just a lower econ build. Oh, by the way, Infernal Soul's for 40 seconds, and Barrage are probably gonna take this.
You know, just in case you're wondering why the teams weren't butting heads, it's because they need to save their energy to be running into each other in 30 seconds time. And Baron is on the menu as well, potentially. That will be the next mark, so if King wants to get that one, and stuff on the Gdanika, who's already dead, and overextension. They knew Barrage Academy were there, but yet still stepping up a little bit too far. This should be the gift of the Dragon Soul, but Barrage Academy actually moving towards the Baron, knowing that Nvision might be doing what we saw earlier today already from, I believe it was Eminem going for that desperation play, and going to be using that Destiny just for a little bit of information, showing that Nvision have moved away and now reassessing the situation, moving towards Dragon, picking up the Soul, and such control coming through from Barrage Academy. They've mastered the chaos, and it's going to be very, very tough to beat them now.
Yeah. If the game state was bad before, adding Infernal Soul on top of that is, well, I mean, I don't know. You're not allowed to have that. So.
No, you're not, I don't believe.
Yeah, so, you know, it's a tough situation to be in. They do, of course, still scale, but, no, Nvision that is, but when you're talking about this big gold deficit, the Infernal Soul buffing up the stats available to Barrage, it's nearly an impossible task, realistically.
And I mean, Nvision do scale well, but Kindred, Senna,
yeah.
There are tools for Barrage Academy as well.
You know, just 2 infinitely scaling champions.
Only 2 though.
Yeah, only 2. It's not like there's 3.
It's not crazy. We haven't got fresh support or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Not the end of the world. So,
Thomas going to get a stun onto Longstaff, and it's going to be the end of his life as the Rel is secured. Barrage Academy just going to move back onto the Baron immediately. Not even going to acknowledge the Rel that was just taken down.
I've seen many Pantheon steal objectives recently as okay.
Oh, Spark's been dove onto. The center element comes down doing a bit more damage as KDO picks up the kill. The Streamer Shuffle will keep Kennen at bay, but Beam Muffin gonna have to slide away. Godonica on the top side actually gonna be going down to King. There's the ace. And third time's the charm as Barrage Academy pick up the Baron.
Yeah, and that should, if the Infernal Soul didn't steal the fate of this game, well, then the Baron certainly will. Thomas Go is even going to teleport onto the bottom side here to push in that wave. Longstaff's the only one up and available at the moment to answer that. Barrage, honestly, they can do whatever they want. They can all take a reset. They can all just go push top side. It really doesn't matter at this point. As we are just going to get a replay. Longstaff long already dead, and you see KDO just come in here. And it looks like for a moment, Spark is going to take KDO down, but a flash and a bonk over the head is enough to bring down the Voidling as Thomas Go finds the mid laner of Nvision in the backside of the fight. Nothing to really talk about with a gold lead this damn large.
Oh, it's the first time I've looked at the top of the screen recently, and the gold graph is going to be showing up as well. And it's just a steady climb from pretty early on in the game. Barrage Academy have just looked the more comfortable in this game so far, and I don't know if there's that much time left in this one for Nvision to come back in. It's going to be a struggle for them to do so if they can. But you know, I've lost games from worse, better positions. Than
I respect the level of faith that you have in Nvision to actually make it back. But just the fight. Okay. Well,
to Godonica, rooted under tab, does get out alive, which is the first time I can say that about this Pantheon recently.
Oh,
he's going to dive right back in. No. Aragon goes in, the stun is huge, Akers goes big, but it's just not enough. The damage is disgusting. Triple kill picked up by the Kindred, a couple for Aragon on the back as well, and that will probably be the game going over to Barrage Academy. Their team fighting has been clean, and the victory is going to feel good.
They just forgot Kennen had ultimate, and that's just going to be the end of the game for Nvision. They were long gone already, but Barrage finish it out in style. Going to take down Nvision here and going to climb into, I believe, potentially tied first again. Barrage, I'm not sure if they had 3 or 4 wins. So
I think they had 3 wins. No, I think they had 4 wins.
Yes, so we're very prepared here.
We'll have to get. We'll confirm during the break.
We'll confirm during break.
So we'll be able to tell you the actual information when it comes through. But that game was very messy. But Barrage, at long periods of the game, felt in control during those messy situations.
Yeah, and I think whilst it's obviously a very impressive win for Barrage, I think it's still important to kind of shine the light a little bit on Nvision here. Because, you know, they haven't really been looking great since around week 3, give or take. And they at least finally looked a little more alive in this game in comparison to just about all of their defeats in recency. So we'll have to see whether they can kind of rein themselves in a little bit and temper that aggression, because it certainly can work. We've seen Eminem obviously do it in the earlier weeks, but here it was just a little bit too much, a little bit too, you know, pedal to the metal. And they eventually just kind of got outscaled by the Kindred. They gave her too many kills. Senna was online. Twisted Fate got his gold income way too fast. Just kind of roll over in the grand scheme of things.
We're going to jump to a short break, but when we come back, we're going to be seeing we're going to see if Jamada can break down some of those team fights, because I wasn't able to, but don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few minutes.
In the twilight before the dark hour, and this time I better get it right, 'cause maybe we're all passengers on the inside. I had something nice to say. I'm thinking of that blood, that blood you are. I never wandered far.
Hello and welcome back to the UKLC. I'm still Viper and still joined by Jamada, and we just witnessed a very comprehensive win from Barrage Academy over Nvision, and we're just going to jump directly into the interview on this one. We've got KDO in the wings, going to be speaking to us off the back of that one. KDO, massive congratulations on that win, putting yourselves at 5-5. We just checked the standings, so hunt for playoffs is definitely on.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's the goal. So we just need to keep winning, keep playing clean, and who knows? Maybe we'll make it.
Yeah, and obviously, it's been a bit of a bumpy road, all things considered. 5-5 is sitting at that flat 50% win rate. I can't remember the last time because we've had you on the interview once before, but I can't remember when exactly in the split it was.
Yeah, I think that was our first one actually. If I
think it might have been, yeah. So
yeah.
I guess actually a good question to ask you in that case is how has the sort of road to trying to find that consistency kind of been since that first win to now?
Yeah, I mean, I think our first, if I remember correctly, our first week went 0-2, so it was just a bit of like a nerves issue. And yeah, I just think throughout the split, our scrims have been just getting better and better and better every week. And yeah, we just feel a lot more consistent, a lot more comfortable with what we want to do. Our game plans are always, very solid. We know what we want, and we actually some always predict the draft of the enemies quite well. So yeah, I think it's just going uphill really.
And also now with the standings the way they are, it's obviously Resolve at the top 10-0, London 6-4 at second place, and then you, Eminem, and Bulldog all tied at 5-5. With that gap also opening up at the bottom where Nvision and Enclave are now tied at 3 wins only.
Yeah.
Talking about that playoff spot, assuming that you do get in, who do you feel like the other, two teams, obviously Resolve are, I think at this point mathematically locked in.
Yeah.
Who do you feel like if you were to get in, the other two teams are most likely to be?
I mean, obviously, I think London they'll still be up there. For if we locked in, Resolve's locked in, London hypothetically, the fourth spot I think is kind of open. I would say Eminem, but then again, Bulldogs beat them today, so I would say it's very open. I think Nvision can still pick their way up, but it will be hard from here. But I honestly think it's anyone's to take.
Interesting. And I mean, the last big question from me to ask is, we talked to Fastleg in the previous interview. He was on the Tom Kench alongside Senna, and he didn't enjoy the farming aspect of it. Obviously, you seem to be enjoying your time quite a lot in that one on the Wukong, which is a little bit of a different champion. But is it nice to have a game where, as a sport, you're doing something a little bit different?
Yeah, I mean, I was an AD main, right? So I don't have I don't have any problem with farming. Like that game, I didn't realize I was so fed at one point. I looked and I had like a 600 gold bounty, and I was like, wait, what? I'm actually really fed, guys. And yeah, it feels good actually to play comp and actually have resources and stuff instead of just being like a ward and roam bot. But yeah, I don't know how often I'll get to experience that, unfortunately.
Well, it was very, very impressive this game. Gideon, massive congratulations on the win and good luck with the rest of the split.
Cool, thank you very much.
There you go. Supports do enjoy getting farm. Fastleg was lying to us, clearly. But yeah, that was... It's so interesting how the league has changed and shifted in having these longer weeks, a couple of longer weeks in the season, has completely flipped the league on its head, except for Resolve. But everyone else has kind of been moving around. And speaking of flipped on its head, moving around, Confusion, Mada, team fight.
Yeah, you're not getting crayons for this one probably. It's one of those replays. So I'll just get it going as I probably have to restart the clip properly. Okay, there we go. So set up for this. So we obviously have Akkas in the top side, pushing that top side tower. Barrage are coming off of wave priority, but it's not at the most ideal time. They're trying to collapse down here onto Godonica, who's shoving out this wave. And we also have Spark in near proximity. And I mean, I'll just let it play out. So it's like Jaws, you just hear the music, dun 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 dun. And Spark does make his way over the wall, but you can just see KDO is way too fed. And at this point, it's kind of anybody's game, but it's Barrage that have the gold. And the Slicing Maelstrom comes through, and the Lime's Respite is keeping the backside of Barrage alive, which is kind of the important thing. You see all of the damage actually being layered through, and Thomas Go and King are able to exit the backside of the fight, crucially, by the time all of the damage dealers from Nvision are actually capable of getting to them. And, you know, it was just a really big headbutt fight, which fortunately for Barrage, they had the Lambda Spy in pocket, and it kept those two key members in Thomas Go and King alive. And after that fight, the game was practically kind of over from there. Like we always, I tend to say, this third Dragon fight is typically the indicator for the majority of the remainder of the game, and they were already almost 5k up. So you win a fight that heavy-handedly, it's very hard for the opponents to come back in, especially when you're not really outscaling either.
Barrage really making team fights look like Venn diagrams in that game.
Yes.
Watching that replay back, Kindred Ultimate, Wukong Cyclone, you got Kennen Ultimate.
Oh,
A lot of circles moving around, and the intersection was pretty painful for Nvision this time around. But
all of these circles make death timers. Sorry, carry on.
I mean, that's very, very true. As a connoisseur of circles yourself with your little drawing board, even though you're not like crowning anything at the moment. But let's move our attention away from that game that we just saw and towards our final game of the day, because we've been talking a lot about the stakes that have been coming into these games, and the stakes have been changing as we move through the evening. This final game, Enclave will be coming up against Demise, and bottom of the table clash. Both of these teams have a real opportunity here to climb the table a little bit. Demise will not be bottom of the table if they win this game. They'll be tying up alongside Enclave and, I believe, Nvision now as well. Enclave winning this one will put a little bit of gap between themselves and Nvision and a bigger gap against Demise. And with 4 wins, that's only 1 less than the likes of Barrage Academy and M&M Academy. So could start even considering the possibility of playoffs for themselves as well.
Yeah, it's certainly, you know, the gap is potentially quite small. If Enclave do win the this game here into Demise, it puts them 1 game away from, you know, the rest of the 5-5 cluster. And at the same time, I feel like if Demise do lose here, it could spell the, you know, that could be the signing off of them most likely ending up in the relegation tournament. But it is starting to kind of shape up like a potential sort of free horse race at the bottom for, you know, avoiding relegation, and then the rest of the pack, you know, fighting out for the remainder of those playoff spots. For Demise, this is a crucial game to win, because at that point, then they can at least tie themselves up, you know, with Nvision, with Enclave, and then they can look to try and leapfrog both of those teams to avoid the drop, because it would definitely be disappointing to see an organization like Demise drop out of the UKLC, especially when you see in sort of a parallel, their academy team's doing really well in the bottom side, despite I think they dropped their first game in the split today, but they're still top of the league in the division below. So, you know, seeing that kind of disparity between the sister teams here, where one team is at the bottom, one team is at the top, it's certainly kind of, it feels almost kind of strange. So it'll be sad to see Demise, you know, suffer that whilst also finding their success in the lower tournament.
Well, I mean, we got to ask a question. Okay, so who's going to win this match? It's such a big matchup. We're going to jump to a short break. When we come back, we're going to find out which of these 2 teams, Enclave and Demise, will kindle new hope of survival. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.